Tonight we're going to move right into the gospel reading itself. Now tonight's gospel reading comes out of the 3rd chapter of John, verses 14 to 21 inclusive. And what we're going to do this evening, we're going to take a look at a few verse sections of the gospel. As we travel through these verse sections, we're going to try to determine what the key word is in each section. Once we discover the key word in each section, then we'll discover the meaning of the message for tonight, which I think is a very valuable message for all of us. So let's take a look at the verse sections I'm talking about. Let's go to the very top. It says in verse 15 of the 3rd chapter of John, so that everyone who believes in him may have eternal life. Let's now go to verse 16 of the 3rd chapter of John. So that everyone who believes in him might not perish, but might have eternal life. And then verse 18 of the 3rd chapter of John. Whoever believes in him will not be condemned, but whoever does not believe has already been condemned. Now, when you look at those 3 verse sections, what you want to try to discover is what you might assess to be the key word out of each section. And it turns out to be the key word in each section of those 3 sections happens to be in each section as well. So does anyone see the key word in those 3 sections? Exactly right. Let's say that together. Believe, how important it is to believe. You know, I looked up the word believe in Webster's dictionary, and this is what I discovered. The very first definition given in Webster's dictionary for the word believe means this: to accept that which you cannot see. Now, that is very, very important in life, to accept what you cannot see. It sounds like faith, and faith is a belief in something that you cannot see, but it means a whole lot in life itself. What a gift it is to believe. To believe what? If my life is difficult tonight, if the cross that I carry tonight in my life is so difficult, so painful, so heavy, and you say to yourself, but I believe that tomorrow that isn't here, a tomorrow that I cannot see, but I believe that somehow tomorrow will be better. That gives you what? The gift of hope. I'll wait till tomorrow before I do something foolish tonight. I'll just wait because I believe things can be better tomorrow. You know, at the end of the Second World War, there were many members of the Allied forces, of which the United States was a part clearly of the Allied forces. They were touring the German concentration camps, trying to get a feel for the atrocities that went on there, how these camps were built in such a speedy time period, what all went on there. So they're touring the various German concentration camps. They get to the most famous of all the camps, the one in Auschwitz. Now, the Allied forces are going from building to building to building, trying to get a smell, and they say you could actually smell death in those camps. They were trying to get a feel for what was going on and what happened there. They were in one camp in Auschwitz, inside of one of the buildings. And inside of this building, they saw a very interesting etching on the wall. These were wooden walls on the inside. The same wall you saw on the inside was the wall on the outside. Only one wooden slat thick from the inside to the outside. And in every camp they went into, there were etchings in every wall. People putting down their first name, their last name, maybe the date. Trying to hopefully one day to be remembered by someone. But they got to this camp in Auschwitz and they looked and they noticed this long writing. It was 3 lines long, 3 sentences long. Different than everything else that they had seen. Now, what made this unique is not only the fact that it was extremely long. It was written by a prisoner. Now, think about that. It was written by a prisoner who was waiting their horrible fate because they knew what was going to happen to them that day, the next day, eventually. They'd be executed, gassed or burned. And it was also written in Polish, which they found interesting, but there were a lot of Polish Jews that were killed at the concentration camps throughout Germany and Auschwitz as well. Now, they wrote it down, what was written in Polish, and they had it translated. And this is what it said. It was written by a prisoner. Let's take a look. The prisoner wrote this in Polish, translated in English. I believe in the sun even when it doesn't shine. I believe in love even when it isn't shown. I believe in God even when he doesn't speak. Those are powerful words. They were written by a prisoner just waiting to be executed. That prisoner had the gift to believe. I believe in the sun even when it doesn't shine. That's an amazing feature of that person to be able to even feel that. The person to be able to say, I believe in love, even when it isn't shown, and they didn't see any love. They didn't feel any love by those who were there herding them into the concentration camps, initially into the trains to the camp, but from the camp to the gas chamber. And then they write, I believe in God even when he doesn't speak. That is absolutely incredible. That prisoner could sense the belief that somehow those things still existed. The love and God still existed. How important that is for all of us here. They say that if your life has fallen into despair, and psychologists say this all the time, when your life falls into despair, it's because a person has arrived to the point in their life with whatever the cross they've been carrying, they believe that things will not get better tomorrow. Things will only be worse tomorrow. And if today is unbearable and things will be worse tomorrow, then I can't continue on. You see, despair and depression, they have horrible allies. You know what happens when a person is living despair and depression for too long? What thoughts permeate their mind? And sometimes they try to act on their thoughts, and sometimes they're not successful, which means they continue to live. But sometimes they are. You know, if you're living in a marriage that is very difficult and you say to yourself, will it ever get any better? If you say to yourself, it can't, it won't, that makes waking up tomorrow morning very difficult. But if you say to yourself as a prisoner, I believe that somehow things can in fact be better. Tomorrow things will begin to turn around. It gives you that hope to continue on. If your family life is falling apart and you say to yourself, what has happened? We're splintered, we're shattered. Everyone's running off on their own. We're not coalescing. We're not together anymore. And if you believe that things can in fact get better in your family, that gives you the gift to continue on, the hope. If you're dealing with health issues and they just seem to be mounting and mounting and getting more worse news and more worse news, you say to yourself, I can't continue on. No more chemotherapy, no more radiation. Those things won't work. But if you just hold on and believe that somehow, yeah, maybe tomorrow can be better, that gives you what? The gift of hope. When you lose hope, you lose what? Everything. It is the cross for all of us. The cross of Christ right there that hangs on a wall. It is the cross that gives us hope. Jesus Christ says to all of us, carry your cross well, whatever it is. Because at the end of the cross, there's always a resurrection. No matter how difficult your life is tonight, and maybe for some it's very difficult, maybe for many it isn't. Hopefully that's the case. But no matter how difficult your life is tonight, how bleak, how dark, how painful, how blighted, just believe that tomorrow can be better. Hold on to those words written by this prisoner in what had to be the darkest moment of that prisoner's life. And what he wrote, I suspect that every prisoner in camp might not have felt the same way. Maybe they had fallen into despair and depression already. But he wrote this, just waiting to be hurled outside to be executed. I believe in the sun, even when it doesn't shine. I believe in love even when it isn't shown. And I believe in God even when he doesn't speak.